Welcome back to Frederick Advice Givers, episode 179. To my left and joining us this week is a long-time friend of mine. We got in the real estate industry about the same time, right? When did you get in the industry?
2001.
Okay, so I was 02. So so we got in about the same time. Justin Ausherman, who has just opened up a new company, Black Wolf Commercial, here in Frederick, that deals with commercial leasing, commercial property management, and commercial sales.
Yep.
Awesome. So, good guy, long time, lifelong Frederick resident like myself, so I wanted to have him on Advice Givers. So, Justin, for our audience that doesn't know you, tell us about yourself, your backstory, where you grew up, what do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
All right, so about me, lifelong Frederick resident, grew up in the same neighborhood I live in now, so kind of went full circle on that. Been married just shy of 10 years. Got two little boys, 5 and 7. In my spare time, I basically do whatever they want to do. So, you know, they're into riding. We just bought skateboards last weekend because both of them want to ride skateboards. And I like to say I have a lot of time to do all the other things I want to do, but right now I just want to hang out with them and let them do what they want to do.
5 and 7 is a fun age.
Yeah.
And is your wife from Frederick too?
Yep, she's actually, she went to high school in Thurmont, so she's from Frederick, and she moved a little bit south to be with me.
Okay, cool. So tell us your journey from 2001, okay, it doesn't have to be yearly, but where you are to now, and the evolution that you've seen, and why you've gone to strictly commercial.
All right, so in 2001, when I first got my real estate license, I tried to do commercial. I worked for another local company, fresh out of college, 22 years old. I think I leased 2 spaces in a matter of about 14 months. And what I found was it's hard to get people to business people to believe in somebody so young.
Right.
So I had a lot of struggle with that. So the fact of spending 14 months and only getting 2 deals done, and it's not a lot of income. Couple that with, we were right in the period of, anybody could sell a house. I mean, people were getting real estate licenses at the rate of like 30 a month. Right. Because it was an easy thing to do. So I switched from commercial to residential, took advantage of that housing boom time frame. Late 2006, when real estate started to drop off and people were losing a lot of equity, there were minimal houses selling. Got an opportunity to do commercial property management part-time. Okay. Actually, I was working for my father's company. So I made the switch then to doing commercial property management. So that introduced me to commercial properties, and I realized that it was something I liked more. Slowly transitioned from commercial property management into doing some lease negotiations, not on the brokerage side, but on an owner's rep side. So there was a regional company that we worked with that was doing, finding all the leads, and I would join them on the property tours, learn how to kind of talk the talk and walk the walk, and understand what all the stuff I was doing in property management meant for the tenants and how they were going to use it, and parlayed that into helping lease properties. Slowly morphed into a little bit of development and construction. Did some property management, did some leasing, did some development, did some construction. Early 2013, kind of left that safe place of, you get your paycheck every other week, and started this company that we have now. Recently went through a name change. Been doing the commercial leasing property management thing solely on my own since January 13.
Awesome. And now that you're in strictly commercial, where's the Frederick Market? Because I don't know, I know residential very well, and I know the building in residential and the new construction. Comparatively, are there a lot of places to lease and to own commercially in Frederick, or is it a tight market? Is it a loose market?
If you want to own something, so if you're a business and you want to lease something to put your business in, it's pretty tight. There's not a lot of options out there to buy. A lot of the options that are out there to buy are going to require additional cash to retrofit into how you want them. Mm-hmm. If you want to lease, there's a lot of opportunity out there. Okay. There's a whole broad spectrum of, the kind of downtown residential office style stuff. There's some older office stuff that was built in the 70s and 80s, all the way up to stuff that was just built 2 years ago. So there's kind of the full gamut if you want to lease. Industrial space, so if you're kind of if you're a contractor and you need a little bit of a warehouse and a little bit of an office, there's some of that, but in the last 2 or 3 years it's been in high demand and a lot of it's been absorbed, so people have been moving into it. The contractors that need a contractor yard, so they've got trailers and equipment they want to store outside, those places are kind of hard to find.
Gotcha.
So there's hot sectors and there's cold sectors and there's a little bit all over the place.
Gotcha. All right, Justin, so let's take this back to a more personal level for the next 2 questions. What's the last purchase that you splurged on for yourself or your family?
A little less than a year ago, I bought a 4-wheeler for my kids to ride.
Okay.
So I did a lot of research on safety, age, size, and I found this 4-wheeler it's a Can-Am 70.
Okay.
So
nice little 70.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they like that.
And both boys ride?
The youngest one, he'll probably start riding it this year. There's actually a legal age limit of 6.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And he's 5, so when they sold it to me, they were making sure that the one that was going to ride it was really old enough. So,
gotcha.
But they've got their little battery-powered 4-wheelers, so they're getting their practice in.
So do you have room in your area, or do you have to go out on a farm, or where do your kids ride?
Not at my house. I don't have enough room.
Right.
My mom and dad both have houses that are big enough that they can ride, so we take them over there.
Awesome.
Yep.
And I know having boys 5 and 7, you don't have much free time. But what hobby or interest, maybe outside, it couldn't involve your family, but what hobby or interest could you spend hours doing?
One thing I started doing a little over 2 years ago, I started doing CrossFit.
Okay.
That's a lot of fun. Can't spend hours doing it because you get tired, but it's got nice camaraderie and it's a competition against yourself. So
yeah, I've got a bunch of friends that across the country that do CrossFit, and they're into it, and the workouts, and the burpees, and everything.
No, they're awful, but they're kind of fun.
Yeah, and they've seen huge transformations in their body. Some people have lost 50, 60 pounds.
Yeah,
and it's only a couple days a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
2, 3, 4 days a week. I mean, if you go 4 days a week, that's a lot.
Right. Awesome. So, Justin, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, especially since 2013, you said, when you're not getting that steady paycheck, and you're the one making the calls, what's that drive inside of you that keeps you going, that keeps you getting up every morning, that keeps you up working late at night? Like, what's that motivation inside of you?
It's kind of odd, but there's an interaction between people and properties that I don't think a lot of people realize. Like everybody realizes how they feel at home. Mm-hmm. Home is that place where you had a bad day, that's where you want to go.
Correct.
But when people go to work, it's kind of like a home during the day. So in property management, some property managers get frustrated that people are complaining about a roof that leaks or their neighbor's loud, but it's their home for the majority of their waking hours. So I like the way that people interact with properties and understanding how that fits and functions, both from the property management side and from the sales and leasing side, because you can buy or lease the wrong property where 3-6 months later you're wondering, why did I do this? I should have done that other building.
Right.
So there's this relationship between how people interact with properties.
Well, you just brought up a good point that I didn't really even think about until you mentioned it. I mean, people probably spend more time at work, especially if you're in an 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job, than they do at home. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they need to be in a comfortable environment,
right.
Good surroundings, safe location, where they don't mind parking in a parking deck and walking to a location, or have. So yeah, people definitely spend more time. And like when we're selling houses, we always try to bring in an emotional connection to the property. Make it warm and fuzzy, tell a story. I guess with commercial, there's some aspect of that, but they definitely have to feel safe and right in that environment.
Yeah. There's a vibe that you get from your real estate, and it's got to work.
Right. So Justin, you've been in the game since 2001, owning your own company since 2013. What is a piece of advice would you give somebody just right now? It doesn't specifically have to be in real estate. It could be, but just an entrepreneurial business owner. Either way.
Just don't try to start at the top.
Right.
Learn all the stuff that there is. Learn the foundation. Learn the roots. Learn how the tree is supported before you want to be at the top of the tree.
Right.
You know, I mean, I think that's why, you know, working in property management before doing other stuff kind of helped me with it, is that you learn from the bottom up.
Right. Yeah, and I think, you know, especially when you're growing a company, is knowing how those other pieces are going to fit in as you grow up, and hire more positions. You need to do those jobs first, so you know what you need.
Mm-hmm. Especially in a small company, because you can't hire that talent right away.
Right.
You know, you have to be that talent first, and then hire that talent in growth.
Exactly. So Justin, in the last 3 years, what's a choice that you've made that's led you to where you are today? And this could be personal, this could be with your business.
I think it's had to say dropping a business line. So when we started,
Explain.
when we started this endeavor in 2013, we did property management, we did brokerage, which is selling and leasing, and we did construction development management.
Okay.
And construction development management is everything from working with the government to get entitlements, working with architects to get drawings, working with government to get permits, and then working with general contractors to see the construction project through to completion. So it's a lot of fun. I like doing it. But when I looked at my time capabilities and realized, you know, I can be really good probably at two things, but not property management, brokerage, and construction development.
Right.
I decided that construction development was something that I needed to let go. So we don't do that anymore. We have relationships. We work with other people that do that.
Okay.
But really right now focusing on streamlining, getting better, growing the business of property management and brokerage without any construction development associated with it.
Gotcha. So cutting down the fat in your business, streamline. Awesome. Yep. So Justin, we've known each other for 17 years now. You know, we haven't had a ton of interactions over that time. We meet at different functions, continuing ed. We've had conversations, but nothing really in depth. I love getting to meet and talk to entrepreneurs and business owners, and I learn a lot by asking the questions. So you are episode 179, meaning I've sat across the microphone from 178 other entrepreneurs and business owners. So I want to flip the script and have you ask me a question. It can be, you know, pretty much anything's, nothing's off limits.
If you had 30 days with no responsibilities, no work, no paying bills, and you had an all-expense trip somewhere, some couple places, 3 places, where would you go, who would you take, and why?
That's interesting. An interesting question. I like that. I've never been asked that question before. So, ironically, in June, July this year, my wife and I have been to Italy. I've been 5 times. She and I have been 4, I believe. So our boys are now 12 and 10. Okay. We have not been with them prior. So this year, we're going to Italy and then doing a cruise for 2 weeks. So that's I'll take that as half of the month. Also, both sets of grandparents, my parents and Susan, my wife's parents, are going too. Probably the only time, you know, they're getting older. It's a trip across the ocean. Probably the only time we'll ever do a big vacation like this. So that would definitely be one. And I would love to go Australia, New Zealand, across the world. And then that would be another week. And then I'd love to go to Africa, you know, just seeing the origins of life, of man, of seeing the big game animals. I'm not a hunter by any stretch of the imagination, but I just have the beauty of nature. So I think those would be the 3. We've done the Caribbean thing. I love the Caribbean.
Right.
I'd love to go, you know, for a week, lay on the beach and do nothing. But you know, and it's funny you ask this question, because to me, life and learning is more about experiences than materialistic objects. Yes, we all need to have homes, cars, and some of us like to have boats and have those experiences. But I think life is more about travel and getting out in the world. So good question. I like
Awesome.
that.
I like your answer.
That. So do you have a 30-day retreat in mind?
I would take my kids and my wife. That's who I would go with. My kids haven't been in the Caribbean. We go to the beach every year in South Carolina, and we go to Colorado every once in a while. So I'd probably say 2 weeks in the Caribbean and maybe 2 weeks out in the western United States driving around.
Right.
We've talked about doing like an RV trip.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Our kids like that stuff, so maybe fly to New Mexico and drive to Washington State and fly home or something.
Yeah, that's definitely on one of the summer dockets, is to take the kids, because I've known families and friends of mine that have done that, just taking a drive across and around the U.S.
Yeah.
It's the U.S. I mean, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, my wife has talked to my kids about renting the RV thing, so now that's I think that's what we're going to have to do.
That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah,
I would love for you to document that experience. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Justin. So final 2 questions.
Uh-huh.
What failure or loss, and this could be personal, this could be business. What failure or loss has helped mold you into the person that you are today?
That's a tough question. It's hard to pinpoint any one failure or loss. I mean, everybody has a failure, everybody has a loss. I think the big thing is understanding what that failure or loss means.
Right.
And if it's a failure, don't do it again. If it's a loss, understand what hole it created, and so that you can mend that hole and move on with it.
Right.
It's really hard to pinpoint one particular thing.
Okay. And Justin, where do you see yourself in 3 years and then in 10 years?
Personal or work or both?
Either way, we can do both. Either way you want to answer.
All right. Work. So at Black Wolf, we're on a growth plan right now. We want to expand our property management services geographically. Okay. So our goal is to not move southern Frederick County, where there's a lot of that competition pushing up from Montgomery County, where our growth is more of a west and a north.
Okay.
So kind of Washington County up to southern Pennsylvania, maybe touch into West Virginia. Grow that footprint for both sales, leasing, property management.
Okay.
Personally, we're probably gonna move in the next 2 years, remodel actually the old house that I grew up in. So my grandparents bought the house, my dad grew up there. My dad bought the house, I grew up there. And then probably in the next 12 to 24 months, I'm gonna buy the house, renovate it again, and then my kids will grow up there.
Awesome.
So that'll be really exciting. It's got 6 acres, so they can ride their 4-wheeler.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
10 years, I just want to continue the company's growth trajectory. I don't want to get so big that I lose track of the people. I think it's always important when you work somewhere that everybody kind of knows everybody. We're not a Fortune 500 company with 20,000 people where you don't know anybody. Personally, once we move and work goes good, I'm kind of content with how things are. I don't need anything else.
Done having kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So how would our listeners, viewers, get a hold of you, learn more about Black Wolf, find you on Facebook, Instagram, website, stuff like that?
Right. So we have LinkedIn account. Okay. Just my name, Justin Ausherman. Website is blackwolfcommercial.com.
Is Wolf with an E?
Nope,
not?
just
Okay.
BLACKWOLF
Okay.
commercial.com. And then my email, justin@blackwolfcommercial.com.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, man. Listeners, viewers, I hope you enjoyed episode 179 with Justin Ausherman, Black Wolf Commercial, as much as I did. And we are out.